Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to solve the case study 2 of 8-week SQL challenge with Danny. So we'll be looking at the case study 2. So if you want to solve any of the case studies, once you come to 8weeksqlchallenge.com, you see all the case studies. So you have the case study 1, case study 2, and so on. So in our last video, in our bootcamp, this particular video we did solve the case study 1. So today we want to look at the case study 2, which is pizza runner. So this is what we are going to solve over here. So let's just look at the case study 1, the case study 2 over here. Now with the case study 2, these are the instructions. So just take your time and go through, and then you have the entity diagram and any other thing that you want to look at. This is the entity diagram where we have the runner order, the customer order, pizza name, pizza receipt, and then pizza topping and runners. So this is all that it's in. And then when you look at the table, we have some work to do over here. For example, when you look at the pizza, you have the exclusion and then the extra. The exclusion and then the extra, they are just additional or something that you can. For example, the exclusion, it means that when you order pizza, there are certain things that you don't want it to be added, and then the extras, certain things that you want it to be added as well. So when you look at all of them, you can see we have some null values here, which means that before we can use this, we need to do some data cleaning. So similarly to this particular table as well, and then the pizza name, we have the pizza receipt, and so on and so forth. So this is the schema for the SQL, and then they have created all these things for us. So all that we need to do is just to copy this and paste it into our SQL server, and then we are good to go. But I will be modifying this a little bit because I will be using MySQL. So the schema over here will be a bit different in MySQL. So I will be doing a little bit modification to this same thing, and then I'll leave the code in the description so that you can have access to it. So, and then when we also come here, now these are the questions, these are our analysis. So we have the A, that is the part A, which is a pizza metrics, where we have 10 questions to answer in our analysis. And then we have part B. Part B is runner and customer experience. Also, we have 7 questions. So we look at the part A, and then we also look at the part B. That is this question. So in all, we are going to solve 17 questions. All right, so let's get started with our analysis. So we just open our MySQL, and then we start with analysis. So this is a quick one. This is the same schema, but here I did a little bit modification to it. So I start with drop database if exists. So first of all, I want to drop the data. If there is any database in my system called Pizza Runner, I want to drop it before I create a new one. So I create the database, and then here I'm using this same database. So once that I drop it, and then I start using it. Now the next thing I need to do is to create tables, and then this one too, I'm dropping if there is any table also in this same database that is called runners. I'm dropping it, and then before I create a new one. So this is the information of the first table that we see in on the page. This particular table, that is runner. Good. This table, and then the next is to create the customer order table, and then we also look at the runner order table in that order. So that is what we have here. We have the runner table, and then we insert information into it, and we then move on to customer order table. We also insert its information. Then we move to the customer table. We set information into the table. As usual, you can see we have some null values inside, and then when you look at the null values, you can see that we have this particular one, which is the actual null when it comes to MySQL, which is capital NULL, This is how MySQL recognize a null value. And these ones are also null value, but they are not as the MySQL recognize them. So you can see the difference between them. So which means that for us to use this particular table, we need to do a lot of data cleaning so that they all be in the same format for us to be able to use. Other than that, anytime you want to drop a null value, you have to be dropping two different null values, which we have to drop this one as usual, and then before you come and drop this one as well. But we can do a data cleaning so that all of them will be of the same null value, where you can just drop just only one null value, and then all of them will go off. So we move on to the next table, the runner orders table. We also insert 8 informations, and then the pizza name as well. And then we move on to the pizza receipt, and then the pizza toppings. So we also insert 8 particular information as well. So these are the tables that we have created. First of all, we created a database, and then we created the various tables and insert their information into it. And these are the things that we need to know. So the next thing that we need to do is to make sure that we have run this and then see how they will look like. And then once we are done, then we can see if we do a data cleaning before you start our analysis. So I'm going to highlight all of this, and then I'll run it. So highlight all of them and run, so that I'll create my database as well as my tables. So let me just run this, and then good. So everything is intact. It means that all have run. Now you can see there's some warning signs over here, just showing that because we say drop table references, they were not in, so it's not a problem. So you can see everything has run successfully without any error. So let's try and see if we can select some of them. Let's just try and see how they look like before we can start doing it. So let me select the first one. Let me see, select, and then I want to select everything, so from one of the table, and then I want to use let me look at the customer table. So from so I want to the customer orders, and then let me run this and see what I'll get. All right, so you can see we have the customer table as it is on the online, and you can look, when you look at it, you can see the different types of null value. So you can see we have this null value, and then we also have this other null value as well. So which means that all this we need to do a data cleaning over here. Okay, so let's also look at the other tables as well. Let's say we want to look at the pizza. Let's say we want to look at the runner orders. So let's look at this it's also table. Good. You can also see we also have some null value as well inside, and this particular one has a lot of problem that we need to look at. We need to look at a lot of problems over here, or solve a lot of problems over here. When you look at it, you can see that the distance column, when you look at the distance column, it's having a different thing. You can see we have 20 kilometers, and the 20 kilometers have 18.4 kilometers, and there are some without the units. For example, 23.4, there is no kilometer, there is nothing to it. 10, there is nothing, and then we have null value. And some of the kilometers, they are, for example, this last one, 23.4, the kilometer is a space before the kilometer, which means that we also need to do a lot of cleaning over here. And when you come to the duration column as well, you can see some are with the full minutes, the spelling of minutes, and then Some are with just a short form of minute, and some are with nothing at all. Some are with space before the minute, some are not with. So you can see they are all mixed up, they are just mixed up over here. So what we need to also do over here is we also need to do some data cleaning as well over here before we can use them. All right, so that is all of them. That is just a few of them. So let's quickly just move on to data cleaning. Okay, so let me delete this over here. Let me delete this over here. And then let's go and look at data cleaning before we can. With the data cleaning, I've already written all this code, and then it will also be I would upload the whole of this code into in the description so that you can have access to all of them. So this is a data cleaning. I'm trying to clean my data to remove the null values from all the tables that we have inside. Those that are not in order, I'm trying to put all of them in order. So before I can also do that, in MySQL there's we have to set save update to 0. Now when you put it to 0, it means that we are disabling save update mode so that we can be able to update our tables. Other than that, we cannot do it. It will be given as a it won't give us. So the save update mode is just a safety feature in MySQL Workbench to prevent accidental updates or deletion, so that you don't accidentally delete anything from your table or delete your table. So that is why we have the save update. So if you want to update anything, you have to set your SQL save update to 0, which means that you are disabling it. And once you finish your update, you set it to 1. Okay, you set it to 1. That is, you on it, and then you off it, and then when you are done, you on it again, so that it will protect your tables for you. So once that we have this, let's run this, showing that we are enabling that. So that is successful. Once you run it, that is all. So we can now come to the customer table. You see, with the customer table, okay, let me call it again. Let me select the customer table again, and then let's look at what we have. Select. So I'm using select all from customer orders. So I want to select everything from the customer orders. Once again, then we look at it. Now when you look at the customer table, you can see that there are some null values and also inside. When you look at the exclusion, the exclusions, you can see the null values over there. They are all small letters. So what we want to do right now over here is that we are saying that update, okay, the customer table. We want to update the customer table. We want to set exclusion is equal to now, okay, where exclusion in, there are some places, for example, this particular area, they are nothing over there, okay, they are empty. So those ones are where we have this particular one. So we are saying that we are using these empty ones, and then where we have the null, okay, the small nulls, and then we want to set all those to capital null, okay. So that is what we want to do over here, okay. And then here too, we also want to do the same thing to the extras as well, okay. So that is what we are trying to do over here. So let's run this, and then once we run it, let's come around this again and see what we are seeing. So now you can see that we've changed all of them to the capital now, that's the actual now. So we just do the same thing to the extras as well. And then when we are done, let's run this. Good. So you can see we have to update all of them nicely. So that have been taken care of. Okay. So that have been taken care of. So we can then move on to the next one. So we with the runner table as well. Okay. Let's look at select. I want to select all from run out all this. And that one too, we can see what we have over here. We have a lot of things cleaning to do. Okay, so the first clean that we are going to do is when you come to the cancellation. Okay, the cancellation is whether the order has been cancelled, or whether it's the restaurant that cancel it, or the customer cancel it themselves. Okay, so we want to do the cleaning over there first, and then once we do that, let's come and run this and see. Good. So you can see that one is taken care of. The next one will be to remove all the kilometers and stuff, because the reason why we want to remove all this is that the kilometers away is that we want to have integer variables, so that in the process, in case that we need to add distances, we can be able to add them, or we need to convert it that to float. Or it actually, you have float numbers inside, so the best idea would be to convert all of them to floating numbers. Okay, so that is floating data type. So let's first of all try to remove the distance. Let's trim it off. So we are using trim over here, trim functions, to trim the distances. Where we have spaces, we want to trim them away. Okay, and we also want to move the kilometers as well, and any other spaces. So when you look at it, I'm using two. I could have used a regular expression, but yeah, they are just only simple things, so I'm just trying to use the replace function. So when we are using the replace functions, what we are doing is that this is the first replace, this is the first replace. Okay, the first replace. So the first replace, we first of all take the distance, okay, the distance column, and then the kilometer. Okay, that is what we want to look at, the distance and then the kilometer. So when you get the kilometer, then from the distance column, where we see kilometer, we are saying that you should replace it with space. Okay, you should replace it with empty. So you should take away the distance column. When you go to the distance column, wherever you see kilometer, put space over there. Okay, so that is the first one. And then the second replace, once that this one is complete, we then come to the second replace. With the second replace, we are giving it a space. So wherever you see space, okay, now wherever you see space, let it be empty. Okay, and those one are going to be these ones. You can see that with this one you have space before the kilometer, so that is what is going to take care of it. And once all that is done, we are using trim. We want to trim away any spaces or white spaces around the values. Okay, and so we want to take care of all of them. And then when you are done, we come here, and what we are doing over here is that we are changing all those the null value to. That is when you come to the distance column as well. Okay, so anywhere you see small null, we want to change it to the bigger, that is the capital, the caps null. And then when you come here, we want to convert the table, that is the distance column, to float, all of them to floating numbers. Okay, for now, because of the mixture of character values, the best idea is after we finish cleaning, we convert it to floating numbers. Okay, so let's run this one, and then now we can run this again and see what we get. Good. So you can see now we have a clean distance column as well. So we are going to do the same thing to the other one, that's the duration as well. So let's look at the duration column. So we come to the duration. So the first thing is that I think I work on that is the pickup time. Okay, the pickup time to convert this one to as well. And then now this is where things get interesting. Okay, so let me run this again and let's see. Good. So now we are at the duration. Now you can see that with the durations, it's plenty. There are so many things. So if we could have used the replace, but it's going to be a lot of replace. We're going to be plenty replace. So I tried to use the regular expression. Okay, with regular expression, we just use only one statement and then we can read them. Now you can see I comment the first one over here. With this particular one, when we are trying to use the replace, it's a lot of replace. So you can see we have the first replace, second, third, fourth, fifth. So it starts from the inner one. Okay, we replace the inner one then before you. So you can like you are kind of replacing it. There are many. So the best is that once you use a shorter expressions, it's to use the that is regular expression replace. So with that one, we are focusing on the duration column. So with that, what are the things that we want to replace? We want to replace minutes, means, mean, and then any other of spaces or any other thing that we want to look at. And we want to replace all of them with just empty, nothing. We don't want anything to be there. Okay, so that is what we want to do right here. So let's run the whole of this one. So and then we can come and run this again and see what we get. Good. So you can see that you've cleared everything away. Okay. So with the exception of only the now value. So now the next thing is to convert the now value also to the caps now as well. And then we can rerun this. Good. So this one is also taken care of. So maybe the next thing that we may look at will be to convert that to any other integer. Okay, when you look at the time, the duration is minutes and we don't have any floating value or decimal over here. So the best idea is to convert that one. So when we are altering the table, we want to convert it to integer value. Okay, so we are done with everything. So once that we are done with everything, we need to enable save update mode again. Okay, to protect our database so that we don't mistakenly delete anything or alter any table without our knowledge. So let's do that. All right. So once that is done, it means that we can edit or alter our table or update our table again. Before we can do that, unless we enable save update mode and we set it to 0. So let's look at the data type. Let's try to check our data type with the describe function. Let's just look only at the customer order table. So you can see that the customer ID is having we have int, and then time star, that's the order time, is the time stamp data. They are now value inside, and then we are using the default. We make sure that we change all the now value to the default, as I said earlier on, the default type of the default null of MySQL, that is the caps one. Okay, so these are data types for the customer order table. All right, so with this complete, we can now move on to our analysis by answering our questions. So this is the first one, that is A, that is PISA metrics. Okay, so we are looking at PISA metrics where we are answering some 10 questions. Okay, so let's look at look at them one by one. The first one, they are asking us, they are saying that how many pizzas were ordered. So here it's about doing the calculation. Okay, and for us to do these particular calculations, where we need to look at this from is to look at the customer orders, because they are asking us how many pizzas were ordered. It's the customers that ordered them. So because it's the customers that ordered them, we have to count it from the customer order table. That is how many were ordered. So we can just look at that from that. So let's try to select from, okay, let's select all from the customer order table, that is customer underscore orders, and let's run it first of all. So this is what we have. And you can see we have the customer ID, the customer, that is order ID, customer ID, pizza ID, and then exclusion extracts, and then order time. So what are we looking at? We want to look at the number of pizzas that were ordered. So we can actually just count from the order table. Okay, we can count the number of pizzas that were ordered from the order table. That is by using their ID. So we can just count their ID. When you look at it, you can see that even the customer ID, when you look at the order ID, some order IDs were repeated. And when you look at the customer ID too, the same thing. It means that the customers, they bought the pizza different times. Okay, they bought the pizza from here, they order pizza here, order another pizza, the same customer again. So let's just count them. So let's use count, and then with the count, we'll be looking at, we are counting all. Let's count all, and then yeah, let me see that as. Let me make it as pizzas ordered. So let me run this. Good. So once that we run this, we can see that we have 14 pizzas ordered. Let's move on to the second question. So the second question, it says that how many unique customer orders were made. So here we want to look at the unique customer orders that were unique, not those that were repeated. So here we are going to look at the same customer orders table, and then we pick the unique order IDs, because those are the unique ones. There are some IDs they repeated, there are some orders they repeated. So we want to look at the unique one. So here select, first of all, let me go here, that's from customer orders, and then here I want to also count, so I'm counting again. And then because I want to look at unique, I'll use distinct. And then I'm looking at the order ID. Distinct order ID. And I want to alias it as maybe unique orders. So unique orders. And now let me run. Good. So we have the 10 unique orders. Okay. Now we have 10 unique orders. Now let's look at something at the top over here to be sure of, or let me just put it down. So let me do the same thing. So I want to select all from. So customer orders, and then let's run this, and you see that there are certain things that were repeated. So when you look at the order ID, you can see we have order ID 3 repeated twice, and then order ID 4 repeated 3 times. Okay, and order ID 10 also repeated 2 times. So when we take all those things away, we could see that indeed, for example, when we take this one out, we take here 2 out, so we've taken 3 out already. And when you come to the 10th, we take 1 out, so we've taken 4 out. You remember in our first one, we had 14. So now this one, in this case, we are having 10. So when you take the 4 out, indeed, they are the unique orders, that is 10. So that is that one. The third question, it says that how many successful orders were delivered by each runner? So here we are looking at successful runners. So what we need to do is that it means that we need to look at the tables like order table. That is where we need to look at the runners from. Now let's select the runner orders and see how the table look like. So I want to select all from the runner table, runner orders, and let's run this to understand this. Good. So this is what we have, and then they are saying that how many successful orders were delivered by each runner. When we look at all the runners, we have runner 1, runner 2, runner 3. There are 3 runners, and then we want to look at orders that were successfully delivered. How do we know that the orders were delivered? How do we know that the orders were delivered? We can look at that from the pickup time. That is one way to know. Once that there is a pickup time, it means that the order was successfully delivered. That is why we have a time. The other way that we can also know is by using the cancellation. Has the order been cancelled? If there is a cancellation, it means that that order was not delivered successfully. That is one way that we can also know. Okay, so for example, when you look at the cancellation area, we have cancellation, restaurant cancellation, and then we have customer cancellation, which means that these 2 orders were not delivered because the one that was cancelled by the restaurant cannot be delivered. The restaurant cancelled it, that order. And then the second order, which is the customer cancellation, it means that the customer cancelled the order along the line, which means that order too was not delivered. So that is one way that is 2 different ways that we can know whether the order was delivered or not. So if it is cancelled, the order was cancelled by either restaurant or the customer or whosoever, it means that it has not been delivered. So those are the 2 ways. So here, let's focus on the pickup time. We can equally focus on the cancellation. Okay, if we focus on the cancellation, if it is cancelled, you know, it means that it's not delivered successfully. We can, as usual, we can also focus on the pickup time. So here, this one, we want to focus on the pickup time. So what we want to do is we want to select some of the things. We don't want to select everything over here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to select some. So the first column that I want to select is the runner ID. The runner ID. And then I also want to select pickup time. Or maybe, okay, yeah, let me just select the pickup time. And then I want to also count the order ID, other IDs of other IDs, because if I want to see the successful orders, it is always the order IDs that I'm going to use. But with this particular column that I'm selecting, those are the only columns that I want to display. So let me look at let me count. So count, and what do I want to count? I want to count the order ID. So the order ID, that is what I want to count. And I want to make it as, those are the things that I want to look at. One, that we are focusing on the runner ID, the pickup time. Once that particular order is delivered, it means that the order ID can be counted as a successful order. So here, I want to alias it as, let me use successful order. So successful order or successful orders. And then I'm selecting from the order, that is the runner orders. But what do I want to do? This is where I have to put condition there. If I run this, I'm going to say, it means that I'm trying to select everything from the pickup table, or I'm just trying to select everything without noticing which one is successful. But I want to focus on where there is the pickup time. It's not now. Once there is now there, it means that that order was not pick up, so it's not successful. If that place the pickup time is now, there is no time there, there's no date there, it means that that particular order was not pick up. So I want to use the where clause. So I'll say where and then pick up. So pick up time, and then I want to use is not now. So where the pickup time is not now. And because I'm using counts, that is aggregate function, I have to group by. So group by, what do I want? I want to group by the runner ID. That is where I'm focusing on. I want to group by the runner ID. So runner ID. And now I can run this. It's giving us some error. You see that? Yes, because there is, I close that from the start. Okay, so you're having some error. So pickup time is not now. Select runner ID, pickup. I think let me take away this particular column and see. Good. It's because I am using the same column again. That is the pickup column. That is why it's giving me error. I'm selecting the pickup column. So this is what we have. And we were looking at it, we were looking at that is the successful orders that were delivered by each runner. So you can see that when you look at the order ID, that is the runner ID one, the first runner, you can see that it has 4 successful orders. The second runner also has 3 successful orders, and then the third runner has only 1 successful order. So that is what we have. That is the answer to it. And we can verify that from the table. Once that you select the table, you could see that when you match them, you can count them from the table. Okay. So then the fourth question says that how many of each type of pizza was delivered? So here we want to look at the number of pizzas that were delivered. That is different types of pizzas that were delivered. So here, this is where we have to combine different tables. When you can see that because we are looking at how many of each type of pizza, it means that you have to also go to the other tables. That is the order table, the runner order table, and then we also have to look at the customer table as well. Those are the places that we are going to get different information from before we can be able to use. We also have the pizza name, because it said how many of each type of pizza. So the type of pizza, and we can get the type of pizza from the pizza table. So let's select the pizza table and see something. So select all from where we said pizza name. um Sorry, pizza names. Yeah, so we have meat lovers and then vegetarian. So those are they are having a 2 pizza names. Now we can see that from here when you come to the pizza names. You can see we have two types of pizzas. That is the meat lovers and the vegetarian. And then when you also look at, you can look, when you look at the runner tables as well, that is the cost, that is the runner orders. We have already looked at all these ones, but because the question is asking how many of each type of pizzas that were delivered, okay, so it means that we are looking at these two types of pizzas. When you look at the meat lovers, how many were delivered? When you look at the vegetarian, how many were delivered? Those are the things that we are actually looking at. So we now know the two types of pizza that we have. Then what we have to do is to look at the customer ID, and then we also look at that of the runner orders as well, so that we can be able to combine all these three tables and pick out information from them to know that, oh, okay, these are the pizzas that were delivered. So from here, what I will do is that I'm going to select. So let me calm down. So select, and I want to select pizza name. Now let's look at something before even that. When you come here, that is the customer. Let's look at the customer table, the customer order table. When you look at the customer order table, we can see that we have pizza ID here. So this is where we have the pizza ID. When you go to the pizza name table, there's no, that's where we also have the pizza ID. So for us to also be able to know for us to be able to know the pizza name, that is the pizzas that were delivered, the type of pizza that was delivered, you have to join this table with the customer table, because those are that is the place that we have the two IDs matching. And then when you look at the runner orders, the runner orders doesn't have pizza ID. Okay, but it has the order ID as the customer table too. So that's the reason why we have to combine all these three tables together. That is how we can combine them together. We can join the customer orders to the runner orders, and then we can also join the pizza name table to the customer orders. So that is how we can join all the three, because you can't join the pizza name to the runner orders. It won't work. There is no ID that connects the two of them. So that is why we are joining that together. So here, first I want to select. So let me look at the count of, okay, let me look at the count of pizza, or that is order ID. And then order underscore ID. And I want to name it as delivered pizza. Underscore pizzas. So this is what I have from here. And let me take away this for now. So I'm looking at the customer orders. And I want to start joining. So I'm going to join this particular table. Let me bring this down. So let me alias this one as small c, and here I'm looking at from the customers order table. So let me, that is, use the alias with it. And now I want to go and look at join. I want to do a join where I want to join the pizza name to that of the the customer table. So I'm going to use join over here. And which table do I want to join? I want to join the pizza. So the pizza name. So the pizza names table. And this one too, I want to alias it as P. So once I do that, I want to join this on the pizza ID, okay, because the customer order table is having the pizza ID, and that of the pizza name is also having the pizza ID. So C dot pizza ID should be equal to P dot pizza ID. So once that this is done, now there is something that I want to also display as well. When we look at the here, we have the pizza name. So I want to display this particular thing, this pizza name as well. So, and this one is located in only one table, that is the pizza names table. So with that one, I don't need to alias it. So as part of the select statement, so as part of the select statement, so this is what I do. So once that this is done, I have to look at, because I'm looking at how many of each type of pizzas that were delivered. So I've been able to do all this, and then the next thing that the next table will be to join the runners table. So I'm going to do another join, and here I'm looking at the runner orders. So the runner orders as I want to use as R, and I want to join it on, that is the order IDs, and the order IDs is between the runner orders and then the customer orders. So I can say C dot order underscore ID should be equal to R dot order underscore ID. And once that I'm done with this particular one, now I have to make sure that I do my selection very well. I'm looking at where we have our orders that were delivered. So it means that I still need to also focus on things like now value, whether the order was cancelled or whether the place was the pickup time was now. So if the pickup time was now, it means that that particular pizza was not delivered. So here I'm going to also use the where clause. So where pickup time is not now, where pickup time is not now, and then because I'm using count here, I'm going to group by. So group by the pizza name. So let me just go by the pizza name, and then so let me see if we run this, what we are going to get, or whether it's going to work. Good. So it's working. So which means that now we have our meat lovers 9 were delivered, the vegetarian 3 were delivered. So all that we were trying to do was to try to find, when you look at the order table. So first of all, we joined all the 3 tables. Then we look at, okay, how many pizzas were delivered and what are their name. And we can only pick their name from the pizza name table. That is why we joined the pizza name table to the customer order table. And then when you also want to look at the runner table, when we look at the table, you can see that the pickup time is in the runner order table, and then here it doesn't have the pickup time, it's only the order time. So for us to get the pickup time as well, we need to join the runner order table to all the tables that we are doing. That is why we join all the three tables together. All right. So let's look at the fifth question. The fifth question says that how many vegetarian and meat lovers were ordered by each customer. So here we are coming to do our analysis. We want to look at how many vegetarians were ordered, how many meat lovers were ordered by each customer. So when you take customer A, vegetarian, how many did he or she ordered? When you take customer B, meat lovers, how many did he or she ordered? That is what we want to look at. And here too, we need to join the pizza table, that is the pizza name table, to the customer orders table. That is the only way we can be able to look at them, because we have to pick the customer IDs, we have to pick the customer ID or the order ID. And then when you pick the order ID, once there is an order, that is where we are focusing. And then we look at the name of the pizza that was ordered as well. So select what do you want to look at. The first one is that say how many pizzas were ordered by each customer. So it means that we need a customer ID. So first thing that I will select will be the customer ID. And this customer ID, I can get it from the customer order table. And then the second thing I want to do is I want to count. So here I want to count the order. So here I want to count the order ID. And then I'll say as. Here it says that, so I want to alias it as maybe also ordered pizza or something. So yeah, let me just use the ordered pizzas. So from where do I want to select from? The first table that I want to select from is the customer orders table, and then I want to alias it as C. And once that I alias this one as C, I want to join the pizza joint. So pizza names as P. And so I want to join it on C dot pizza ID to be equal to P dot pizza ID. And then I'm not using the, okay, let's move on. So yeah, I want to, because I'm using aggregate function, I want to group by. So what do I want to group by? I want to group by either the two of the pizza name and then customer ID. I have the customer ID. The pizza name is found in the pizza names table. So pizza name, comma, customer ID. So let me run this and see if we are going to get an answer. Good. So we have the customer ID displayed, and we have the pizzas ordered. How many vegetarian and meat lovers? So we don't have the pizza name. So let me come here and display pizza name as well. Let me see. Pizza underscore name. Good. So when we look at each customer, we are looking at each customer. When you look at customer, this particular customer, you can see that is customer ID 101. You can see the number of the meat lovers, two were ordered. It's like that. And then The same 101 customer 101 ordered a vegetarian, that is one. So in that is how it has been arranged, because that is what we are actually trying to look at for. We want to look at the customer ID, the pizza name, and that the number of pizzas that were ordered by each of them. So that is what we have here. The next question we want to look at it says that what was the maximum number of pizzas delivered in a single order? The maximum number of pizzas delivered in a single order. So what we want to do right now is we want to find the number of maximum pizza that was delivered in a single order. So when you take all the orders, how many were delivered? Which one was the maximum? Which one was the among all of them the highest number of delivery? So that is what we want to look at. So as usual, we will focus on. We are going to do some joints here because we want to look at when you take the customer orders, we can get some information from them, like the order ID. We can get the order ID. That is where we can count the number, and then for us to also know some other information, pickup time, because pickup time will tell us whether it is delivered or not, and that one we can get that information from the runner orders table. So it means that we have to join the runner orders tables to our information, the customer order table. So let's select, and then we want to select that is the first thing that we want to select will be the order ID. And the order ID fortunately is in both tables, the two tables that we want to join, the runner orders and then the customer orders. So as usual, because I'm going to alias the other one as R. So let me use R initial. So R dot order ID comma count, and then inside this one let me use C because I'll pick that one from the customer order table. So dot C dot order ID as, yeah, I want to do is as delivered pizza as well. So let me see the delivered underscore pizzas, and then now from where do I want to take for the first table is the customer orders, and I want alias this as C. Then I'll do a join statement here. I want to join runner orders as R on. I want to join on what do I want to join? I want to join on the order ID. So C dot order ID should be equal to R dot order ID, and then because I'm looking at delivered things that were delivered, pizzas that were delivered. So I have to say that where pickup underscore time is not now, and then once that is not now, I want to group or order by. Okay, I want to order by the counts, and then I'll also group as well. So first of all, it's always group by first. So group by, and then R dot order ID. So that is what I want to group by, and then I'll order by the count. So I'm going to order by count because I'm looking at the maximum. So because I'm looking at the maximum, I have to order it in such a way that I will get the highest one. Now, by default, it will be ordered in ascending order, that is from smallest to highest. But because I'm looking for maximum, I have to change the order type from ascending to descending, so that it will count it to arrange it from the highest to. Okay, let's just leave this one and let me run this so that maybe I can explain better with what I'm trying to. Good. Now you can see that we have the delivered pizza. The delivered pizzas, it was just randomly. We don't have any arrangement for it. So you can see you have the order ID 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, and so forth and so on. So now that is by default. It's just arranged that way. It just makes up. But what if I want to order by the order ID? What if I want to order by that particular one? So let me see, order by, and then here I'm using the count. So count, and I want to say that C dot order ID. And then this time around, let me use descending. So I want to use descending like this. And then let me run this. And let's see the difference. So you can now see that now the delivered pizzas were arranging descending order for us. So now we now know the highest, the maximum. The maximum that was ordered was by order ID 4. So that is the order ID 4 has 3 pizzas that were ordered or that were delivered in a single day. And we want to look at the maximum number. So we are just looking at only one. And then we just want to look at the highest number that was delivered in a single day. So I'll use the limits word, limiting it to only one. So I want to see only one of them being displayed. That is all. Exactly. The highest one. So this is the answer to question 6. So then the question 7 says that for each customer, how many delivered pizzas had at least one change and how many had no change? Yeah, we are looking at the extracts and then the exclusion. So this is where we have, once that it has an extras or an exclusion, it means that there is a change. Okay, for example, if you order a pizza, you can decide to say that, okay, for my pizza, add this particular thing to it. That is, there are some additional things that you can request to be added, or you can request to be taken away from it. So once those things are being done, it means that there is a change to the original pizza. Okay, that is not the original pizza that supposed to be delivered, but you requested additional something, so there is a change to it. So here we want to look at, for each customer, how many delivered pizzas had at least one change and how many had no change. So those are the things that we are looking at for two things together, whether there is a change and then how many of them had a change and how many of them didn't have a change. So let's look at that. And for us to get that, we would be using case to analyze this particular scenario. For example, we will look at if there is a change. Once that we look at the table, there is a change, it means that it had at least one change. So when we look at the tables, the exclusions and then the extras, you can see that here there is change. Okay, exclusion, 4 were excluded, and then here there is 1 extras. So you can look at all of them in that particular regard. So at any point, if we want to see that there is no change, then all these places must be null. Once that it is null, it means that there wasn't any change. But if there is no null, if it is not null, if it is not empty, it means that there is a change to it. For example, those with values has a change and those with null has no change. So that is what we want to look at. So we have to combine each of them separately, and that is what we want to look at in question 7. So with the question 7, let's start with our select statement. So select, and then what is the first thing that we want to select? We want to look at the customer ID. Let's take them one by one. Customer ID, and then with the customer ID we need to count. But how do we count this particular one? How do we count? We can count for using case where we will sum up. Okay, so we are going to sum up all those with null value as all those with null value for both the extras and exclusion to be have no change. Once there is null value, it means they have no change, and those with not null have change. So let's look at the first one, and the first one we look at we are looking at counts. So as usual, because it's how many. So count, and then what do you want to count? We want to count the pizza IDs. Why are we counting the pizza ID? When you look at the table, this is where we are focusing on. So they are the pizzas that were ordered. So we have the pizza ID 1, pizza ID 1, pizza. So customer 101, this is the pizza that was ordered, the pizza ID that was ordered. And the pizza ID can be, we can trace the pizza ID to the pizza names table where we can know the type of pizza. So that is what we are trying to, when you look at it, this particular one is meat lover. It is the two that is the vegetarian from this particular table. So that is how the arrangement is being done. So that is what we are trying to look at right now. That is why we want to look at the pizza IDs, because we want to look at the different types of pizzas. We are counting each type of pizzas. So that is why we are using that. So we have the pizza ID, and then I want to use this one as usual. I'm using delivered pizza. So delivered underscore pizzas. Now comma, and this is where things get interesting. What do I want to now? I'm going to use the sum, and inside the sum function, because I want to sum up, inside the sum function I'm going to use the two sum. The first sum function, I want to sum up all the pizzas that had null value as at least had one change. That is those that had not no null value to be at least had one change. So sum, and inside it I'm going to use case. So my first case, I will say that when, my first case I will say when, and then I'm going to use exclusion. So exclusions, and I will say is not null. When exclusion is not null, or, so here I'm using the logical term or, and with the logical term or, it means that once one side is true, it means that everything is true. That is the logical term. But with the logical with the logical end function, with the logical end, both sides must be true before you can get a correct answer. Both sides must be true. So with the or, once that we have one side to be true, it's assumed that the whole statement is true. But with the end, both of them must be true. So that is the difference between the and the or. So I'm using or here because once we have, for example, when you look at this particular table, the extras, when you look at this particular table, it's only one side. This particular side is having exclusion, but this is not having exclusion. So what it means is that it's still going to count. If I use the or here, it's going to assume all of them to be true. That is, once one is correct, the other it just gives me true. Once one is correct, it gives me true. But with the end, both of them must be true. For example, if for us to get a true answer over here, these two must be true as usual. That is, both of them are now before you can get the that is the idea behind both or and then the end. So the next one is extras. So I have the extras. Yeah. Also, it's not now. So the extras is not now. When these two, this is not now or this is not now, what do I want to achieve? I say then one. So it's going to count it as one. Else 0. So I'm assigning variables like this. So it's going to 1, 0, 1. It's going to give it 1 or 0. And then I want to end this particular statement. So end. So I'll end this and then I will alias it as and then had. So had at least underscore one change, one underscore change, comma, and then I'll do the second one again, sum, and inside the sum another case. So here another case, and this one is going to be the opposite of the first one. So I can just copy the same thing here. Just copy the same thing and then edit it. So when exclusion, here is now, not is now, and this one I'm going to use end, not or. That is all. So here I'm having two things here. So it says that when exclusion is not, is now, sorry, when exclusion is now, and extras is also now, then 1, else 0. And then here I'm going to do had no change. So not to had underscore no change. So that is what I'm trying to do here. So I'm saying that this one, it had no change. And then what do I want to achieve over here? So right after this one, I'm now going to select for, I'm going to pick a table. So from, I'm now done with my calculations, and then what I want to do is from, where do I want to select from? So from customer orders table, the customer orders table, and then I want to alias this one as C. So alias this one as C, and I want to join it to, because I'm using a pizza ID, and I'm also going to use the pickup time, because the pickup time will tell me whether it is delivered or not. So I'm going to do a join statement here. So join, and what do I want to? I want to join the runner orders, and here to as on. So on what? I want to join it on the r dot order ID should be equal to c dot order ID. So that is where I want to join it, and I'm looking at where the pickup time, where pickup underscore time is not now, because those are the things that I want to look at. I want to look at it, that the pickup time, once the pickup time is not now, it means that it is delivered. And then I am using the aggregate function count, so I have to group by. So group by group by what? Any of the, that is any of the these two, either the customer ID or the count, the pizza ID. So I'll say customer underscore ID. So that is all. So now I can run this. Good. So now once I have run this, so this is my answer, this is my results. So now you can see that we are having when you look at the delivered pizza, we have the number of pizzas that were delivered, and then we with those pizzas that were delivered, we group them into two, whether it has at least one change or no change. So that is what you can see right here. You can see that the customer ID 101, there were two pizzas that were delivered to that customer, and out of the two pizzas, both of them had no change. Okay, and then when you look at this one, for example, customer 103, three pizzas were delivered, and all of them had change. We can reference that from here. When you can look at it, for example, let's track this particular customer. Customer 103 ordered three pizzas. So customer 103. Now this is customer 103. This is the first pizza. You can see the first pizza had changed, at least exclusion. The same customer again, another exclusion. The same customer, another exclusion. So it means that this particular customer, all the three pizzas ordered had changed. And that was what we had as our answer. So that is what we had over here, because we had all the pizzas had changed. That is the third customer 103. And customer 104 ordered three pizzas. Two had changed and one had no change. Let's confirm from here. 104. You can see that the customer 104, the first pizza ordered, had one change here. The same customer 104 ordered another pizza here, but there wasn't any change. So we can see the difference between them. So that is what is happening. And it's ordered another pizza again and had another change, because the two of them, so it had another change again. So that is what we are having as our answer. It had only one of the pizza had no change and two had change. So that is what we have as our answer. The question 8. Now question 8 is saying that, it says that how many pizzas were delivered that had both exclusion and extras. So here we want to look at the number of pizzas that were delivered but had both what do you call it, exclusion and then extras. So here it's just like the same thing. It's just like the same thing as what we just did, but in this case we are looking at the one that had both change. So we can copy the same code as we have from here, but with this particular one we are looking at only the first case where exclusion is not null or extras is not null. But because this particular one, we want to see that both of them have changed, that is, both of them are true, we need to use and. So that is what we are going to use. So let's just copy this without typing plenty code. Let's just copy this and then we come and paste it here. But we are going to do some, we are going to take certain things out. So the first particular one, this last case like this, we don't need it. We take everything out. And here we are going to use we are going to change it from this particular one to had both exclusion and extras. So let's change this one, because that is what we are looking at, had both exclusion to add both exclusions and, so exclusion and underscore extras. we had both exclusions and extras, and here we will also change it to end. And what are we looking at? We are just looking at, it says that how many pieces were delivered that had both exclusion and extras. So how many of them? And we are counting, so there's no need for these things. And because we are also looking at for only, what do you call it? We are looking at for the number. We are just summing up both that those that have both exclusion and extras, and we are using the end function. So here we have the customer ID as usual, the other ones. So all the other information over here are all okay. Take away this one as well. So let's run this particular one and see. This is what we actually want. Good. So it means that it's only one pizza that had both exclusion and extras. That is what we are looking at. So the question now, it says that what was the total number of pizzas ordered for each hour of the day? So we are looking at the pizza that were ordered for each hour. So we need to get hours from, that is, first of all, we need to extract the hours from order time. We need to look at the order time and then extract the hours. And then we also need to count the number of orders made during each of the hours. And then when we are done, then we group the orders by the hour they were placed. So that is what we are going to look at. So let's select, okay, let's do select. We have select, and then the first thing that we want to use a function called hours, and then we use the hours to extract. For example, when you look at the order time, this is what we are looking at in the customer orders table. We can extract the hours in this particular order time. So that is what we want to do. So we are going to use the hour function to do that particular extraction. So we use the hour function, and what we want to do is to pick that is the order time, underscore time. So order underscore time, and then we want to extract this as hours. And then the next thing is we want to count. So we are counting all the pizzas that were ordered within that particular time, that is within the hour that we are looking at. So here as usual, ordered pizza or ordered pizzas. And where do I want to pick that from? I want to look at everything from customer orders table, and because I'm using count, I'll group by. So group by, what do I want to group by? I want to group by that is this particular one, the hour. So that's what I want to group by. So let's run this. It should give us good. So with each of the hours, see that what was the total volume of pizzas ordered for each hour of the day. So when you look at the hour, we have 3 pizzas. Now the 18, as you got the 18, we know the 18 is 6. Then we have the 19 hour, the 23, 13, which is 1, 21, then 11. So that is other. Question 10, which is the last question for pizza metrics. And then the question 10 is saying that what was the total, what was the volume of orders for each day of the week. What was the volume of order? So here we want to look at the volume of pizzas that were ordered. And when we take the each day of the week, for example, day like on Monday, the volume of pizza ordered, Tuesday, Wednesday, in that order. So here too, we will use the same order time, the order time column. And what we want to do is we are going to extract the days from that same time. So when you look at this particular order time, we want to extract the days, this particular date. What was, when was that? Which day was this particular? 1st of January 2021. Which day was that? So that is what we are going to do. We are going to extract the days from that particular, and we are going to use a function in MySQL called day name to extract that. So it's just the same thing that we've done over here. So we can just copy the same thing, the same code, but here it's just we are going to use different function. Over here, we are going to use the day name function in MySQL, and then we will make it as day. So the day name, and then in the group by to, because we use day name, so we just change that. So you can see that it is actually, we are actually doing just the same thing. It's just the same code. However, because the first one we are looking at the hours, that is the hour of the day, and with this one we are looking at the day of the week. So the code is similar. However, the functions that we use are just different. The first one we use that's the question. Now we use the hours and the hour function. Then the day we are using the day name function as well. So that is just that. So let's just run this and see what we get. Now when you run this, we can see we have the days. So we have the Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then Friday. And on Wednesday we had 5 pizzas that were ordered, and then Thursday we had 3, Saturday we had 5, and then Friday we had 1. So that is the end of pizza metrics for case study 2. Our next will be to look at the B parts, which is the runner and customer experience. That is what we are going to analyze. Thank you so much for staying with me up to this time. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like, and share with your friends. Bye bye.